So I'm here today to say that climate change constitutes a serious threat to global security, an immediate risk to our national security. And make no mistake, it will impact how our military defends our country. And so we need to act, and we need to act now.
An immediate risk to our national security. President Obama using the commencement address at the Coast Guard Academy to push for fast action to deal with climate change yesterday. Republicans wasted no time blasting the president for linking climate change to national security and also for saying it is man-made. But, and this is an interesting argument, a guy named Osama agreed with President Obama. The government just released a treasure trove of documents found in Osama bin Laden's compound, and one of them was this letter that he wrote to other al-Qaeda leaders. Quote, "You don't fail to notice that due to climate change, there's drought in some areas and floods in others. The brothers in Somalia must be warned so that they can take the maximum precautions possible." We're now in a spot where Osama bin Laden senses the difficulties and the dangers that climate change presents, but the U.S. Congress doesn't.
I just want to make sure that I point out that Osama bin Laden's a homicidal maniac.
Yeah. When we start dictating our policy from Osama bin Laden, I'm going to crawl under a rock and quit a world.
I'm saying that the guy who lives under a rock has figured it.
What were you thinking?
That
you just handed these deniers, these climate deniers, Osama bin Laden and Obama coming out for the same thing. What were you thinking? Look at them, look at them. Have you ever seen happier people?
What I'm thinking is that a guy who was living in a cave essentially for 10 years
Not a good enough reason.
seemed to have figured out that climate change was something that needed to be dealt with.
Also planning murders of Americans. Are you kidding me? This is
it was the heat. It drove him mad.
Okay. They don't want to talk about climate change because
You
they're
didn't have
deniers.
enough pure water.
And now you've given them chort. You ever hear the expression to chortle?
Chortle is a great word.
You're chortling is what they're doing instead of
Ireland.
So the national security, all right, let's bring it back then. The national security threat that the president was talking about from climate change.
Did the saber-toothed tiger get defrosted? Like, seriously,
You see what you did? Do you see what you did?
All right, this is going well.
Yeah, on the same day that ISIS overtook, 2 more Iraq cities, like really smart.
What I'm saying is, what's it going to take for the U.S. to actually get serious about climate change and actually address a topic that it seems like the rest of the world has figured out?
Guests. Okay, that's the answer to that question.
Is it not a national security concern?
I think some things are happening already. I mean, let me look at fuel standards are up. You've got more natural gas being used over coal. Things are happening. Even the fracking is better environmentally.
It always is helpful with Obama to listen to precisely what he said. If you look at, for example, at the ability of the United States to utilize bases, some of which are in, let's say, the South Pacific, with the rise in sea levels that are coming because of global warming, our ability to project force around the world is diminished now. How much diminished? Are there other ways to deal with it? We'll figure that out. But yes, there's a national security consequence to global warming, and the chortling twins here are not helping in a serious discussion.
You should have given the speech. That's a much better explanation
Yeah,
than what the president said.
My issue.
Wait a minute, you may be onto something.
There you go. My issue is it just sounds completely tone deaf of everything that's going on in the world right now with national security. It sounds insane to be making climate change front and center of that argument when the foreign policy has been a disaster. So I think it just handed all of his detractors a great argument to point out all of the things that are going wrong.
It's not a national security concern for the U.S. Navy because of rising sea tides?
It's not a concern. But when you're saying ISIS is JV league, and then you have them at the same time taking over more cities in Iraq, climate change is like at the bottom of people's lists right now. I hate to say it, but it's human nature.
Trying to change that.
Okay, but why? That's what I mean. It's out of touch.
Appreciation of the dangers to our economy,
and
to our health requires that you do more than one thing at the same time.
But you have to have some context to it.
I think we can all do preserving things and conserve energy and do all the things that we're supposed to do. Growing up, you leave the campsite cleaner than you got there without freaking out and digging ourselves into a hole like Al Gore tells us to do. I mean, I think people should care about the environment. It's natural. You want as little
These are
smoke
the
as possible going up to the.
You know,
up
there
to
was
the
a
wire.
movement called the conservation movement.
Which is a
that
Republican
used to
movement.
be called a conservative thing.
Yeah.
You're denying
No, no,
the
no.
reality.
No, no.
This is Al Gore
I
didn't dig
consider
us into
myself
a hole.
I consider myself a conservationist. But the panic, the alarmists out there, my God, the waves are going to come next year. Al Gore said we're done by 2018.
The
Really?
consequence of continuing global warming is disastrous for human beings and economies around the country. What will it take for you guys to open your eyes and smell the coffee, to mix a metaphor? You can't go around saying it's a third-rate issue. It is the great security issue of the next 100 years.
I don't believe
don't
it.
agree.
I just don't believe it. I'm all for doing things, doing sensible things to keep the environment as clean as possible. But I don't buy the alarmist stuff.
We've been hearing about climate change for 15, 20 years now, and about the
Right.
grave
And we're still
consequences
getting
to
up
the
in the
planet.
morning and walking to
and
work.
every year we get a little bit more evidence that that's
What,
true.
another storm
That-
comes in, you say, oh, it's gotta
Yes,
be.
and
it's
rising
gotta
sea
be
levels, and the fact that
climate
the
change.
and the fact that the
Oh,
glaciers,
it's cold now.
the fact that the
It's
glaciers
cold
are
by the
falling
warm.
off in
Yeah.
Antarctica.
You know,
I just,
it's like the
at what
apples and
point
the-
do we stop with the excuses and actually get something done on
There
this?
are superstorms now that there didn't used to be. There is a drought.
Yeah,
where
but
there-
you're-
What do you
Noah,
want to
they-
get
they-
done?
I mean,
That
Noah, that was a
changes
hell of a
There
storm.
is
Let's
a
give-
drought
let's
where
roll
there
back
used
some of the
not to be
carbon that we're
drought.
putting out into the
There is
environment.
an
Okay, well, that
increase
would
in
involve
temperature.
keeping
the
nuclear
polar ice
plant
caps
open.
are melting. True or false?
True.
And you want to wait for the flood and then say, now let's take steps.
True. What I'm saying is I don't agree with the panic solutions that people come up
What
with.
panic solutions?
The
are you
panic.
talking about?
First of all, Al Gore is flying all over the
No, no, no.
world,
What
blowing
panic
carbons out
solutions-
the back of a
That's
plane.
your phrase.
Yeah.
What panic solutions do you oppose?
The panic solutions?
Yeah.
You would shut down American industry.
Who
you would
wants to
at an
shut down
econo-
American industry?
the-
Where
all
do
the-
you
all
see that?
The coal plants. You shut down coal plants. You put us at an economic disadvantage to China, to India, to other emerging countries. We could level this economy.
You
put it on
think
its
someone has
knees
called for
by enacting the
closing,
stuff that's being called
closing
for.
all coal
Al
plants?
Gore does it.
He's called for the closing. That's just fiction.
It's not
That's just a
fiction.
novel. He's talked about how do you reduce
Al
the
Gore
amount
supports coal
of
plants?
carbon emissions. He's not a fan of coal plants, but he hasn't called for closing them all down. You're making it up as you go along.
It's a cap and trade, which is what they were talking about, which is how we got rid of acid
which
rain.
was a Republican put in the first place.
As a matter of fact, it was. But that's why there's no
You
acid
guys
rain
are
in the country.
denying-
Shut down Indian Point, get the windmills up, and everybody will be good to go.
Let me
Wait a
make
minute.
one more bad
Windmills?
argument.
No, we actually like the nuclear.
Since I'm rolling with so many bad arguments on this topic. let me-
No, that's what I
at
mean.
least-
If you're
windmills.
opposed to
I like
nuclear,
windmills.
if you're opposed to nuclear energy,
I'm looking at solar
to coals, then you
panels
can't
on
be
my
opposed
roof.
to nuclear.
Like I have someone coming to look at my house to put solar panels on my roof. I like the idea of doing cleaner energy. I think we can all agree on that. But I think the panic stuff has gone
There's
too far.
no panic
National
stuff.
security emergency. I don't see it.
It's a national security emergency. And when you do see it 15 years from now, you'll come back on this show and thank
When
me.
the woolly mammoth comes. And
We'll all be
you know.
dead.
Noah built the ark before the rain started. It seems like we're waiting for the rain. How's that for another bad argument?
There
Up
we go.
next, a debate over the
Osama
debates.
bin Laden?
The ever-growing Republican field will start squaring off in August. The rules have been announced, and the critics are already pouncing. We'll hash it out, or, well, with this panel, we'll try and fail to hash it out right after this.